What's up, Michigan State fans? It's Jacob Kotsuniker here back for another episode of the Michigan State Spartans Insider Podcast. It is now Monday, October 27th. Another loss to Michigan now for Michigan State fans to kind of compartmentalize. It's tough. It's real tough at the moment. The Spartans are now 3-5 on the season, 0-5 in Big Ten play. That's the real stat. 0-5 Big Ten play. All 5 losses. All 5 of them by double digits. Michigan's technically the closest they've gotten. 11-point loss. Really, it was Nebraska. But they're not that close. There hasn't been a game during the Big Ten where they've put themselves in a real position to win. They had a lead again. The only time they've led in the second half of a game is Nebraska. Had a lead in the third quarter and then immediately gave up 24 straight points. So this is going to be the fourth straight year Michigan State's even if they win out, it's going to be the fourth straight year Michigan State's going to have a losing record during Big Ten play. Only 4 games left, 0-5 record. That hasn't happened in a long time. I think I looked through it. It was 5 years in a row from 79 through 83. The last time that type of thing happened. That many losing seasons in the Big Ten consecutively. So, where does that leave things? Again, this is the Monday morning podcast for this, but I do record these a day ahead of time, so this is Sunday morning while I'm recording it, fresh off the game. Up late writing, doing this to just kind of get it out of the way, so I don't have to think about it too much throughout my Sunday, but nonetheless, Jonathan Smith, time's running out. I don't think, obviously, you won't be hearing this if he does get fired on Sunday. I'll have to do some other things if that were to happen. I don't think he's going to get fired this week. If they're going to fire him mid-season, it would be on a Sunday because they have to trot him out to the media on Mondays. So, you can't wait during a game week because they have Minnesota this week. But it's ever since UCLA, really even before UCLA, but especially since UCLA, it's just felt like when, not if, it's going to happen as far as Michigan State moving on goes. Because let's face it, it's not working. You don't need me to tell you that. You definitely do not need me to tell you that. You just need to turn on the games on Sunday and see the product that's out there on the field because it's not good. It's really not good. Because again, 5 Big Ten games, 5 double-digit losses. It's not a Big Ten level team. It's not a Big Ten level team. You look through power rankings, FPI. There's MAC teams above Michigan State now. There's a bunch of G5, like better G5 teams are now ahead of Michigan State. I think the only teams now MSU's ahead of in the Big Ten as far as power, like FPI goes, ESPN, are UCLA, who just barely, I think they're above UCLA, who obviously walked into Spartan Stadium and rolled over MSU. So that doesn't even count. Purdue, a team that went 2-10 last year, and it looks like it's about to go 2-10 again. But they partially because they have a brutal schedule. I still think that they're in year one with their new coach Barry Odom, who I think will do fine there. Did a good job at UNLV and Wisconsin, one of the worst Big Ten non-Iowa, not even with the Iowa qualifier, one of the worst offenses really ever. As far as Power 4 football is concerned in the modern age. They scored like their first touchdown 3.5 hours of game time against Oregon. They scored 7 points and that was good for them, But that's the company Michigan State's with. UCLA team that's fired their head coach after an 0-4 start, or 0-3 start. They fired him. They started 0-4. A just dead man walking Wisconsin program, and a Purdue team that went 2-10 last year. They went into Spartan Stadium and nearly won last year too. Actually, MSU almost blew a significant lead in that one. And it's just so Jonathan Smith is 3-11 against Big Ten teams. The wins are Maryland on the road, not terrible, it's the only time he's won on the road. His very first Big Ten game was a road win against Maryland. Uh, I'm trying to think about what Maryland did after that. Pulling that. Oh, they went 4-8. That's the lone win on the road for Jonathan Smith. Then the other two Big Ten wins were that Purdue team that was terrible, and the best one by far is they beat Iowa last year. Iowa's never easy to get. They went 8-5, 8-4 in the regular season, so it's not nothing. But then you have 11 losses to go through, most of them not being that close, especially against good teams. They have not been able to hang with quality opponents. Ohio State blew them out. Oregon blew them out. Michigan wasn't great last year, especially in that portion of the season, but that game was close. Indiana blew them out. They've done it twice now. Illinois was good last year, blew them out basically, and Rutgers wasn't even good either and blew them out with bowl eligibility on the line. Go through this season, Southern California. Got my USC's mixed up there. Again, I was up late. They got the wires crossed. USC, not a blowout, but wasn't ever really looked like Michigan State was going to win that game. Nebraska, you almost had them until you didn't. UCLA got blown out. Indiana got blown out. Michigan, wouldn't call it a blowout, but it wasn't very close either. Again, 31-20, kind of a fake score because Michigan State scored a garbage time touchdown with 7 seconds left. So it's like, it's just like it's tough to get excited. It's tough because they're 3-5. They're almost certainly not going to make a bowl game, and which is kind of brutal because the schedule should be playable. They got Minnesota next week. Minnesota's not amazing. They're not amazing anyone. They just got blown up by Iowa, who MSU has to play on the road. And that's the toughest game remaining at Iowa. But Minnesota's 5-3. I think they're 3-2 against the Big Ten. Easy schedule, but you can't even really use the easy schedule moniker because is Michigan State going to make it any harder? No. They still got 3 Big Ten wins. That's 3 more than what Michigan State's got. They beat Rutgers at home, Purdue at home, and Nebraska at home. They're 0-2 on the road, 3-0 at home during Big Ten play. So, that's 3 teams right off rip that are, Purdue's not doing better than Michigan State, but Rutgers and Nebraska, 2 teams that are probably sitting in a better spot as of right now than Michigan State at the moment. Again, Penn State coming off a bye. You can win that. Will they? I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't give it above 50% chance. That's the best shot they got. The rest of the way probably because, again, interim staff. James Franklin's fired. Penn State's lost 4 straight now. I think they had a bye this week. Yeah, and they're going to be losing 2 more. Got it. They're playing Ohio State and Indiana coming into the Michigan State game for them. So probably going to be a battle of 2, 3. I never thought that would happen. 2, 3, probably 2, 3, and 6 teams going into a game between Michigan State and Penn State. 2 programs that are pretty proud generally. Especially Penn State. I mean, one of the better programs in the Big Ten just as a whole. And they're probably going to be 3-6 coming into a game at Spartans Stadium that will probably have some empty seats for the final home game of the year. Again, at Iowa, not happening probably. And then you got Maryland, almost certainly end the season at Ford Field. Maryland's not great either. So they've been able to win some games. They're 4-3, but they've lost their last 3. They were also on bye this past Saturday. But again, the losses are to at least semi-decent teams and are close. Lost by 4 to Washington at home. I think Washington's good. Lost by 3 at home against Nebraska. I don't think Nebraska is bad. I don't think they're great, but they're 6-2. They lost to UCLA on the road. Again, long road trip, and UCLA is certainly better, even though they got crushed by Indiana. But who isn't getting crushed by Indiana at the moment? So Again, just more teams. I mean, their lone Big Ten wins Wisconsin, which again these days isn't really gonna amaze many people. But hey, it's one more Big Ten win than what Michigan State's got. So that's the outlook with the schedule. Just kind of four uninspiring games from a fan perspective. So I'm going to be really the main thing I'm going to be looking is see how hard this team plays the rest of the way. Because to me, like there's nothing, there's no Michigan left. There's no ranked, like Iowa might be ranked when they go play them, but there's no like super crazy fun opponent to go out, and that will be this big opportunity to lift the program up. Even if you beat Iowa, Iowa kind of has this. I can't think of the word. It's just kind of there's the narrative about Iowa that they're just not impressive every year, even though they're generally a good football team. Even if you go and upset them in Kinnick, it's not going to exactly move the needle that much. It didn't really move the needle that much last year when Michigan State thoroughly outplayed them in Spartan Stadium, which is still feels like an anomaly game because that's the only complete game I think true complete game that we've seen in the Jonathan Smith era. And again, they're 3-5, and the 3 wins are not impressive at all. You beat Western Michigan, okay, in-state MAC school. You don't get points for that at a Power 4 school, not at Michigan State. You beat FCS Youngstown State, FCS school, who cares? And and sandwiched in between those, Boston College, and that's an interesting retrospective on it now, because they are dreadful. They're bad. Like Michigan's, they're real bad. 1-7 are the Boston College Eagles now. Their only win was right before they played MSU Week 1 against Fordham, FCS team. They have not won since. Most of these games aren't very close either. Yeah, only one of these losses since they played Michigan State, which is 6 straight, is by 1 possession. Took Michigan State 2 overtimes to beat them in Spartan Stadium. One of the worst team, maybe the worst team in the ACC, one of the worst teams in the ACC. What's that say? Plus, Boston College technically outplayed Michigan State in that game. They had better stats, all-around team stats. Most of the time, Boston College would have won that game. If Boston College won that game, Smith is probably gone already. Still sticking around because of that game, because Michigan State made some big plays down the stretch. They converted the 2-point conversions. Boston College didn't. But it's like, looking back on that one, it was a thrilling win at the time. It was on national television. They're 2-0. Got that not revenge game from last year when Boston College beat them in Boston, of course, Chestnut Hill. But they're 1-7 now. You don't get points for that anymore. There's no win that's you can hang your hat on. There's not many wins in general, and you got to win football games. So it's going to be real interesting. I still don't think Smith gets another year because I just don't know how. Like, everyone's seen enough. Everyone's seen enough. It feels like it just feels inevitable. Because it's tough for Jay Batt. I feel because he's got to make some real tough decisions. Because it's expensive to fire Jonathan Smith. If you want to move on, there's gonna probably have to be a couple wealthy donors that are going to have to shell out some money. So Bat's got to be working the phones because Bat sees it too. He's watching the games. He knows it's not working. He has eyeballs. He knows what a good football program is because he hired Brent Key at Georgia Tech. They are 8-0 and in the top 10 of the AP poll. Real good chance they're going to be playing in the CFP this year. Georgia Tech. So it's just. But he's got to be working the phones, calling up all the donors he's got on his little registry probably, and saying, "Hey, you want to be good at football? Well, it's going to cost some. It's going to cost us. So, want to shell out some money and go get a new coach? Which coach? I don't know. There's some interesting candidates out there, but this is the other factor he has to go into is this is not a good year to go into it because there are so many openings already available mid-season." Florida's open. Penn State's open. Just off the Virginia Tech's open. That's just off the top of my head. There's more. Again, I'm running off very little sleep right at the moment, but there's so many openings already. I know that much. And Do we know Michigan State's going to get their number one target? Like, say they want, purely hypothetically, there's no information here that I know of. Say they want James Franklin. Would James Franklin come to Michigan State? What if Florida wants James Franklin? If I were a coaching candidate, I'd rather coach at Florida. There's more of a chance to win there. People, most people of coaching age, they've all seen Florida win a national championship. They haven't seen Michigan State win a national championship. They haven't seen Michigan State get that close. Again, the closest they've gotten was that D'Antonio year, or if they would have made 2013, would have made a four-team CFP. Didn't exist yet. Again, only semifinal appearance. You know how that game against Alabama went. Again, there's kind of levels to this. And in terms of resources, school like Florida has more of it and more prestige than Michigan State. So you're not necessarily going to get your guy. So it's tough to see the way out. It's real tough to see the way out. So, but again, there's the thing, like, you can't just punt though on another season, because I don't see Smith getting enough people through the portal to really build this thing up for next year. Because again, you're going to deal with some exits after this type of season. If they go, say it's 4-8, 3-9, guys are going to leave. Because that's how it goes. People want to win football games. Good players are going to want to go. If you got good players are going to want to go play football. I'm never going to speculate about any specific players. But dudes want to win. They're competitive athletes still at the end of the day, even though they're getting paid. Dudes want to go win. See Charles Brantley. He's not playing really at Miami, but hey, they're winning games. So it's just, that's the type of thing you have to deal with right now when you aren't a winning program. Your good players are often going to leave. So, though, but we'll see. We'll see, though. Minnesota's still a gettable game. Penn State's a gettable game. I don't think Iowa is. Maybe Maryland's a gettable game. It's winnable. I wouldn't favor Michigan State in any of them. We'll see what goes here from now for Michigan State. It's going to be real interesting to see how Smith is on Monday, assuming he's there. He will be. I don't see them firing him after the Michigan game. They don't want to give him the satisfaction, especially after there's a bye against Minnesota after Minnesota. So, but it's going to be real interesting to see what his demeanor's like. Probably going to be more the same from him, calm, cool, collected, for better or worse. And then what the players are like on Tuesday. Well, can't be there on Tuesday, but Wednesday. Just see in general what the clips are like on that. But still, for now, I'm Jacob Katsanika. Thank you for watching here, wherever you're listening to this podcast or watching on YouTube or wherever. Keep checking in here at SpartanNation.com and at Michigan State Spartans on SI. I'll see you guys around.